Hi again. I'm welcome back to the channel, and I'm wearing a hat, as you can see, because it's nice outside, and because I my hair's just messed up otherwise. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys about something that's, I suppose, close to my heart, I guess. And it's World Autism Awareness Week this week, and it was some of you may know I have high functioning autism spectrum condition, which is a bit of a struggle sometimes. It's basically what it is. It's when you're it's like the whole autistic spectrum. There's like high functioning, which is, I suppose, like at the top. That's where I am, and that's basically when you're still like an average human being. Like, you can speak properly, do stuff properly, no physical disability. Um, but then, like, you find, I suppose everybody finds, some things like really easy to do, like fractions. Whereas, some people find them really difficult to do. But so, like, for me, I like anything to do with Marvel, for example, anything to do with Marvel or Star Wars, or like Top Gear, anything about that. I'm your person to go to. If you want to know anything about that, I'm your person to go to. But if you want to come to me talking about, if you want to talk to me about maths, like fractions in particular, I haven't got a clue. And that's that's just one of the things from the high functioning autism. And then there's low down on the spectrum. Trying to remember from my heart from when I got diagnosed. There's and at the bottom there's where it's like really severe. Like, that's where people like can't speak at all. Like, can't speak. I suppose find it difficult to move sometimes. But yeah, there's different there's different not stages. There's different variations. If that makes sense. So yeah, this is probably just going to be a bit about my life, I suppose, coming up to the diagnosis and then afterwards. Some of you, my friends, any friends and family, may know my when I was younger, I used to live with my mum and my stepdad, and then when I was 9, my stepdad and my mum got married, and then about two or 3 months after their wedding, my mum passed away. I was 9. It happened about a week or so after my 9th birthday, and I didn't realise. It was I woke up in the morning ready for school. My mum was going to take me to school, but she was coughing a lot. She couldn't really go anywhere. Me being 9, I didn't know what was going on. So my stepdad came home from work, took me to school, came back. She was dead or dying. I don't know. As I say, I wasn't there. And yeah, so she was dying. It turns out she went into cardiac arrest. I think my next door neighbour at the time tried doing CPR while my stepdad called the ambulance, something like that. That's from what I've been told. So I don't know for sure what happened. But I know she went into cardiac arrest and then passed away. Meanwhile I was at school, and then my stepdad came and picked me up, and halfway through school, and I thought I was going for a dentist appointment, because he wouldn't speak. He would just say, "Come on, get in the car," and then we went home, and then most of my family was there, and I was still really confused. So I went upstairs with my granddad, started talking about Star Wars, showing him a poster that was on my wall, and as I walked up the stairs, I noticed that my mum wasn't in her bedroom, but it still didn't click in my brain. I thought she had just gone out. Then I heard people crying downstairs as well, so I was just like, "Oh, what's going on?" My stepdad came home with my sister who was at school, and then he told us upstairs, and I was probably on the toilet crying for about a couple of hours, I suppose, and yeah, that was that. And then my stepdad's ended up getting addicted to alcohol. So he used to take me to the pub quite a lot, even like on school nights and stuff. So I was at the pub, in pub environment, like smoking, alcohol, like swearing, and it wasn't a good environment to be in. But I didn't know, as I was only young. I didn't know what was right, and my sister, I got the brunt of it, to be honest, because my sister had a boyfriend, so she was around his house for most of that time, and obviously, like, we didn't, like, I suppose, I don't know if my sister knew what was going on or not, but I didn't say anything, because I thought it was just normal, so I didn't really think there was anything to say about it. So even, like, when we ended up getting a dog at some point, so when me and my stepdad were like home, sometimes like get a Chinese takeaway. Obviously, he'd have some beers. Sometimes he'd hit the dog. Hit if he's like when we're eating at the table, or even I suppose on the sofa as well. When we're eating food and he's trying to gum, like dogs do, try and get food. And a couple of times he hit him. Like when he was really drunk, and eventually, I'm just trying to make this as brief as possible, really, because I don't want you guys to sit here for like an hour just about me. Where was I? I actually can't remember where I was. This is embarrassing. Yeah. So then eventually, like, I think it got to one night where me and my stepdad were at one of the pubs, and my sister, who worked at the Chinese like opposite the road, called him up to see if because she wanted to come see me, and then I was sitting right in front of my stepdad. My stepdad was that drunk. He just said he's not here. He's at the park, and so my sister went to the park. Wasn't there, obviously. So she called up, worried because I wasn't there, and then he was like, "Oh no, he's here." So then she came. She went into the garden at the back of the pub where we were. Saw how drunk he was. Took me and said, "Come on, Theo, we're going." When he came out trying to get us back in, he grabbed my arm. It was my arm. Either grabbed my arm or my sister's arm. But there was somebody who was waiting in their car at the traffic lights, who like looked about to get their phone out, probably to call police or something, because it looked like he was trying to hurt us. That's what it looked like. So my sister just used that to our advantage, I suppose, to get away. She was like, "Do you really want the police to come and you won't see us again?" So he let go and went back in. Grandma came and picked me up. Ended up staying with her for a bit, then getting back into contact with my dad. I say back into contact. We were already with contact, but like obviously like, our grandparents were the first ones that knew about what was going on, um, and then we all, like me, my sister, and my grandparents, decided to tell Dad. We weren't living with him because he and my mum split up, and then because my stepdad married my mum, he got like automatic custody of us or something like that. And then yeah, so we ended up telling him everything. Then, so I think he's just stayed with my grandma and my auntie for a bit as well, until like everything got sorted out of court. My dad went to court. My stepdad didn't show up, so I think my dad. I'm trying to remember. This was ages ago. So it was a few years ago, and my dad. Yes, I think because my stepdad didn't turn up, my dad got automatic like custody back of me and my sister. And then yeah, so I wasn't. Moving back, being with my dad, it like took a lot of time to get used to, I suppose, because like obviously I wasn't very used to being with him because we didn't see him a lot. I suppose every other weekend, and like it was just yeah. So I needed something to get used to, and so I think it took me quite a long time to realise that I'm safe now, and like yeah, like and then I think it was because I didn't really talk much, and used to just being like on my phone all the time. I suppose that's a normal teenager-y thing anyway, and like child thing to do. So I suppose that's why nobody really thought anything of it. But I also used to just write lists of stuff and stuff like that. And then like my dad and my grandma, I think, were like, "Oh, Theo, do this test thing." Didn't tell me what it was for. I did it, and then it said like you are most likely on the spectrum or whatever. So I was like, "Well, what does this mean?" This was only recent. This was a couple of years ago, so more recent than all of that stuff before. And so this was like one of the online tests for autism, and so then we ended up getting like a referral or something like that for the NHS, like something to do with getting a diagnosis, and it just took ages. Like it took so long. It took like probably about a year and a bit, I think, or something like that. It took more than a year, at least, I think. I can't remember, to be honest. But I remember I only got my diagnosis October, like last October. So literally 6 months ago. Yeah, around 6 months ago. It was a lot of, I suppose during that time, I think, or just before I had that online test, maybe, was it? I can't. Right, during this time, I tried ending my life about three or four times. First one using a key. I was at school and I was trying to cut my vein open with my key. It sounds a bit silly, I know, but it was the only, like, when you're in that state of mind, like you literally just look for the only thing, for the sharpest thing that you have, or like the most dangerous thing that you have. So I locked myself in a toilet cubicle at school, held it down for about an hour, but then of course didn't turn up for my lesson, so teacher sent somebody down to the like reception bit, and they were like gathered that I was in the toilet because that's wherever I go when I'm upset. Not anymore, but and then the second, so I think that was what made us try and get like a I think that was when I first started getting counselling. After that, possibly, and then and then the second time was with the second time was after a family party. Because I felt really out of place there, because everybody else was like having a good time, and I wasn't, like, and I was just sitting there, only speaking to people, saying, "Oh, hi, like, how are you?" Stuff like that. Still, like, I still was like, I'm not good. I'm still like not a good speaker to people, but like I'm getting better. And yeah, so I was just like there on my own, really. And then my cousin let me go up on his Xbox, so I just stayed up with that for the rest of the afternoon. And then a day or two later, I was just like, in my head, it just got into my head, like, why, if I'm not going to speak to people, if I'm afraid of speaking to my own family, what is the point of me being here? And I tried suffocating myself with a belt that night. And I told the school, because I think the school had given me like a school counsellor thing, something like that, to see if I needed like normal counselling. I think so, something like that. So I told her when I next saw her, which was like the day after. So she obviously, like, told my dad. Then I think we started trying to get more like proper counselling, which I felt like after a couple of weeks, I felt like I had, got everything off my chest. I thought I was sorted, but it takes a lot longer than that. It takes a lot longer than a couple of weeks. But me being me, I was like, well, I don't want to be there anymore. Like, counselling, I don't want to do that anymore. It's boring now. I've said everything. There's nothing else that I can say. So that stopped, and then eventually, the third time I actually can't remember, but I know for definite that there was like 4 times. I know for definite that there's 4 times, but I just can't remember what the third one was. I never have been able to, so that's a good thing though. The fourth time was all of this while we're still like waiting for our diagnosis and stuff, which was one of the many reasons that I was doing it, because I just felt like in this state of mind, I felt like if this is taking so long, nobody gives a damn about me. Even though I knew full well that people like cared about me. I knew my family cared about me, but it just felt like they didn't. And I suppose that's more of my fault for not like speaking to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, we've got trying to get a diagnosis. Then 4th time, I took some deodorant into school, and at lunchtime or break time, I locked myself in the toilet cubicle again, and just started, it was lunchtime I think, started spraying the deodorant into my mouth, because I thought that was, because it says, if it said on the side of the can, solvent abuse can kill instantly, so I thought, solvent abuse, that's probably what it is spraying into my mouth, that's probably solvent abuse. And I probably just like did that for about the hour of lunchtime, just like not continuously spraying, but just like had a little break, like, and then of course didn't turn up for my lesson. So then they came to the toilet, opened it up, saw me with the deodorant can, and took that away from me, called my dad in, got sent to A&E. I think it was A&E, was it? Yeah, A&E. so my dad had to take me to A&E because obviously if I put it into my mouth, it could go down into my lungs, stuff like that. I wanted to see if my lungs were okay, see if everything was okay. Everything bodily wise was okay, although we had to wait a long time, like a hella long time. It was like, because the NHS is so busy and so crowded. Most of it is with people who literally just have colds. And like, there's like a lot. We had to stay overnight. That's how long we had to wait for. Like, we got there about probably like 2:00, and by the time we got to see, like, by the time everything had been like checked and stuff, it was like, it was, the next day. Luckily they had a bed they gave us, and then in the morning when I woke up in the morning, I had to have all these like things like put on my body everywhere, like the kind of sticker things, and a machine was like doing stuff to me. I can't remember what it was. I think it was checking like heart rate and stuff, pressure and stuff like that, and everything was alright. So they took that off, and my sister came visited, and then I think we saw somebody else who said I should be referred to CAMHS, CAMHS. The H is silent for some reason, but so I had to see them. I was referred to them because they're mental health specialists. I think what it stands for is child and adult mental health specialists or services, something like that. So I had to go see them, and it was, I had to see them for quite a while. Obviously to make sure that I'm in, like, right space of mind, and also at this point was like where the I think it was the same. I think it was. So literally this. So my suicide attempts and the autism diagnosis journey thing was like, ended up joining together at this point. So they gathered that I think the autism and mental health like could be linked together, and so then they gave me more like tests to do and stuff. And eventually I got diagnosis for high functioning autism, which made me happy because now I've got something, like, at least I know why I'm socially awkward, I suppose. And like, it just means we're all, whether you're autistic or not, we're all smart at some things and we're all dumb at some things. We're just all people, like. But but now knowing that I have autism is like sometimes at school when I'm like in lessons or whatever, or like even at home sometimes, and I say or do something that is either like frowned upon, or say like I'm talking to family and that a family member asks me a question, I reply. To them it sounds like I'm snapping at them, and to everybody else it seems like I'm snapping at them, but to me it literally just seems like I am just replying to them normally, like I normally would. And then I get guilty. I feel guilty because I'm like, oh, like once they tell me that it sounds like I snapped, I feel guilty because I'm like, oh, is that how I always sound? And I'm like, I may as well just not speak at all. But I do speak. I mostly just speak about stuff that I'm interested into, because that's all that matters to me, which is another thing I've come to learn, that I've got to, even if I'm not interested, I've got to act interested in what other people are saying, because I suppose that's just one of the unwritten rules of society. And so autism itself is a help. Like, it's not like a disease. People treat it as a disease. Like, and that gets me really annoyed. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot about. I lose my temper so easily. The little tiniest thing, and I get so annoyed. Like people at school, like I've literally got a reputation at school now for. I suppose somebody put it the other day. Theo, like they were. I think somebody was having a conversation with somebody else, and then I think one of them asked me like what I thought of their situation or something. So I said, "Oh, it's just a little thing. It doesn't matter." And then the other person was said, "Well, yeah, but if I did the same to you, you would punch me." And I was like, "That's what I used to be." I tried to explain it. That's what I used to be like. I am changed now. I don't. Like, occasionally, I do retaliate, like fully over little things, but that's when I've been like. That's when I'm like already in, I suppose, like a bad place, like already got people annoying me throughout the day, or just like other times just stuck in my head, and that's when I lash out over the tiniest things. Whereas before it just used to be anything that got on my mind. It was like bam, that's it, and then I got trouble. Which don't punch people. Don't only. And it's a very wise man. I won't name. Nobody has been named in this thing because obviously I don't want people. I don't know. I just feels like the safest thing to do really to not name people. It's like yeah. So a wise man has said to me like one of my dad's friends actually said to me to like when people are annoying me. Just like if they're attacking me, like so if people are attacking me, like physically, or annoying me physically, then it's like okay to like retaliate physically because like you got to defend yourself. But if it's something verbal, unless it's something about my family, if something verbal about me. Then I'm not really, like, obviously I'm bothered, but I wouldn't retaliate. I'll probably say something, but I won't physically retaliate. But if somebody says something about my family, then I will physically retaliate. And I know some people from my school who hate me, watch me on YouTube because people like taking the mick. And so I suppose this is a warning. Like, you can't say no, you ain't being warned, because I know some of you watch my videos. So if you say stuff about my family, I will punch you. Whether it hurts or not, I don't care, I will punch you. But obviously, like, the best thing to do is to just ignore it. Tell somebody. Like, doesn't have to be a teacher. Because, like, and this thing about, like, snitches get stitches. That can just go away, really. That's like, what? Say if somebody's being bullied, you expect them not to say anything. Like, where if a shopkeeper gets robbed, what, are they not going to tell the police? Idiots. But, like, violence is not the answer. I mean, it can feel good, but just because something feels good, it doesn't mean it's the answer. Like medicine, most of it tastes horrible, but it's good for you. I know that because I've got a wisdom tooth coming through now, and I've got to have some warm water with a teaspoon of salt as like some mouthwash thing. Which is horrible. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted, but I know it's going to help me. Like Cavonia, that is horrible medicine. Tastes horrible, but it helps. It helps with your sore throat, chesty cough, whatever, it helps. Anyway, wow, I got sidetracked a lot. Anyway, this autism is, people treat it like a disease. It's not. That gets me really annoyed. People call us retards. Retard retarded means slow. I particularly, I in particular, am quite slow. Like, physically. But, retard, there's outdated phrases, man. It's like calling a gay person a faggot. It's just outdated. You don't say it. It causes harm. Verbal harm, like, mentally. And, like, you know, just treat everyone the same. Just be happy to each other. It's not that hard, is it? Like, in this day and age, like, most of all, we need happiness. Let's be honest here. Brexit's just gone. Word I can't say. And, it's just all gone downhill. Everything pretty much has gone downhill with Britain, just talking of Britain in general. But we need happiness. I've spent 30 minutes and I haven't even spoken about autism, really. This is going to get me accused of clickbait, isn't it? But, autism itself, not a disease. Don't call us retards. Be kind to each other. We all have, autism, most of us have traits where, like I said earlier, writing lists. That is a trait. Being alone. I like being alone. But I like being with friends. But more so in school. Outside of school, like if I'm going somewhere, because I don't like trains. I don't like trains or buses. I hate public transport. But I've got to get a train soon, because normally I go to my grandparents after school. And because I live somewhere else. I'm not saying where. I live somewhere else where they do, and my school is where they live. So I normally go to their house after school, whereas now they're moving to somewhere else. So now I'm going to have to get a train back home. I hate trains. I hate them. But I'm learning to like them. A bit. Not much. I mean, it's only one stop, which is good. And I'm so happy for that. Because, it's the noise of the trains, the speed that they go through. I don't mind being on them. But it's when, when I'm waiting at the station and they just come through, I hate that. Buses, I just dislike because people. I don't really like, as I mentioned earlier, I don't really like talking to people. Especially, more so people that I don't speak to, well, I haven't spoken to before, and like strangers and stuff. Like, even not strange, like people in my school. Like, I don't really like, only the people, only my friends, really, that I have conversations. But I wouldn't have, a full-fledged conversation with somebody that I don't speak to. Another thing, I suppose, getting angry as well. That's, another trait, really. Because we lose our temper so more easily than other people. Like I said, we like being on our own sometimes. And, coping mechanisms. There's these fidget spinners and fidget cubes. They can help. Personally, I mean, I just like fidgeting with anything, really, when I'm stressed. And, even when I'm in a conversation with somebody and I'm like, this is a person I've never spoken to before, I sometimes I just flip my phone in my hands, or just, get some, holding stuff or whatever, and, moving it around, pen, bringing it around. Stuff like that makes me calm down. Listening to music. That is the best coping mechanism out there. Listen to music that you love at a high volume, not too high because that damages your eardrums, but it helps you so much. That's why I listen to, my favourite genre of music is rap and hip hop. So I listen to some Eminem, Black Eyed Peas my favourite. The Black Eyed Peas, Eminem, some NWA, Ice Cube. Just do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you love to do in life. Don't let anybody stop you. And my family's gonna every time I get upset about something now, I'm like, oh, he's got this, he's got that, and they're just gonna be like, they're just gonna show me this clip saying, "Well, listen to your own words, Theo." But it's true though. You've got to do what you love doing, and don't let anybody stop you. And be nice to each other. Be nice to everybody. Even those idiots out there, like the proper idiots, like the racists, the homophobes, the terrorists, the pedos, the murderers. If you're nice to them, then A, they might not hurt you. B, they'll get annoyed because they're not expecting that, because they want people to get angry and retaliate with them and stuff. Like ISIS, they claim they're Muslims, but they're not. They're not, because they're just idiots who pretend to be Muslims so that they can carry out these awful things that they've done. If you like, I don't know what I was trying to say. Just like, every time they do something or say something or whatever, they're trying to cause people to, because they claim they're doing it because people dislike Islam. Like that's one of their reasons that they claim to do it, because people dislike Islam and hate Muslims. The reason why they do it is so they get people worked up, like especially in the West, because there's a lot of white people who are like, who after all these attacks and stuff are like, all Muslims are terrorists. I even saw a post on Facebook the other day saying that like Lee Rigby, some military dude who was this like off duty, just walking on the street, he said he was saying Lee Rigby got killed by Islam. No, he got killed by some idiots who were pretending to be Muslim. He didn't get killed. It doesn't make sense anyway. You can't be killed by a religion. If it said you got killed by Muslims, I mean, that would still annoy me because they're not Muslims. But, you know, that's closer towards the truth than, you know, getting killed by a whole religion. OCD is another thing that, like, a lot of, like, OCD I have from autism. Like, spellings. If people spell something wrong, I hate the Americans, like, when they spell. I don't hate the Americans, I hate them when they spell. Because, like, colour, they don't put a U. Favour, they don't put a U. Flavour, they don't put a U. What do you mean favour? Favourite, they don't put a U. Mom, like mom. Actually, oh my god, I tried saying it. Yeah, mum, they miss out a U and put an O. It's like they don't like U's. They don't like letter U's. That's what it is. That's alphabetist. That's letterist. Yeah. I'm gonna leave you guys to it now. This is, if you want me to do, because honestly, I mean, this is the first time I've spoken about everything that's happened, like, on the channel, and I enjoyed it. It's like getting everything off my chest, and, like, I suppose without this channel, I wouldn't have done that, and without you subscribers, because even if I'd made a channel, if I had 2 subscribers, I wouldn't have done this, but I have 50, and I know it's not a big accomplishment. Well, any amount of subscribers is a big accomplishment. Obviously, 100,000. I will definitely not stop until I get 100,000. Definitely, because I hope when I'm older, you know, once I get a job and stuff, money, buy a decent camera, maybe a laptop or a computer. Then I can memory stick and stuff, connect it all up, make it good quality and stuff. I've kept you long enough. 39 minutes of your time. If you have watched this, thank you. If you haven't watched all of it, thank you, because it still gives me a view. Not that it matters anyway, because of Logan Paul. What I mean by that is when he filmed the dead body in the Japanese suicide forest, YouTube were like, oh, you know what, we need to make some changes to our policy thing or whatever, and you now need a certain amount of subscribers and a certain amount of views and watch time or whatever to be able to monetize your videos. Great. Now my dreams of becoming a child star can never happen. Thanks, Logan. Right, yeah, see ya. Yeah, but what was I saying before? If you want me to do another one of these kind of videos where I just talk down and chat to you guys about life, hit the like or comment. Thank you. See ya.